Welcome to Running Shoes Guru. I'm Brandon, and today we have another super shoe review for you, the Hoka Rocket X. In the running shoe world, X is only reserved for the top of the range premium products. You have Zoom X, you have Fresh Foam X, you have the Carbon X, and now you have the Rocket X. The Rocket X is the sequel to Hoka's 2019 Evo Carbon Rocket, which was their first carbon-plated racing shoe. It now has a 5mm drop instead of a 1mm drop, and it has a single density midsole instead of a dual density one. The Rocket X has a very affordable price of $180. But the big question is, can it compete with the other super shoes? The winner of the US Women's Olympic Marathon Trials held in February this year wore this shoe, so it definitely has credibility. At $180, the Rocket X falls into the same price range as a training companion. It's cheaper than the Fuel Cell TC, it's cheaper than the Tempo Next Percent. But is it durable and forgiving enough to be used for high mileage training blocks? So is the Rocket X the bargain of the year? Or are you better off paying through your nose for an expensive, flashy super shoe? In my opinion, this is one of the best looking Hoka shoes ever made. Previously, I'd never be seen dead out in public wearing a Hoka shoe if I wasn't running. But I don't actually mind wearing the Rocket X. It's definitely one of the sharpest looking super shoes. When I tried them on in the store in my regular size, they felt a bit too long in the forefoot and too wide. So I tried to go a size smaller, but then it was just way too snug. So I ended up getting my regular size. The Rocket X fits best when you go true to size, but you wear thick socks with it. My first run in the Rocket X was in light rain, and the grip was fantastic. I never felt like I was going to slip, and I didn't even have to slow down when going around corners. The first thing that I noticed was how smooth and consistent the ride felt. The Rocket X is one of the most natural feeling carbon fiber shoes. And what I mean by that is, other carbon fiber shoes have wanted me to strike in a certain way, and it felt like they were in control of me. But in the Rocket X, I could strike the way I wanted to strike, and I felt like I was in complete control of the shoe. I was surprised at how forgiving the shoe felt. It has the nickname the Speed Dagger, which conjures up images of a firm midsole with a harsh ride. But instead, I felt like long distances would be easily doable. For the marathon distance, the Rocket X has the perfect level of cushioning. The forefoot is firm enough to go fast, and foot protection is sufficient. My longest run in them was 35 kilometers, and by the end of the run, my legs didn't feel tired or beaten up. The midsole is also not overly soft, so I didn't have to work harder to get a quick turnover. Even though the Rocket X has a full carbon fiber plate in it, it doesn't have any flair or oomph, and that's a good thing. The 1mm carbon plate has some flex to it, but it isn't at all intrusive. The feel of the carbon fiber plate is concentrated in the midfoot and not up in front, so you don't get a forward tipping sensation like in the Vaporfly or the Alphafly. The plate and the just right midsole foam work together to provide a consistent and cohesive ride. I put the Rocket X through the ringer, and I tested them on marathon pace, easy, threshold, tempo, and even recovery runs. But speed is in the Rocket X's DNA, and it felt best when I was going faster at below 5 minutes 30 per kilometer. So even though the Rocket X is more suited to faster runs, it has a couple ride characteristics which make it suitable for daily training. One, the ride is extremely smooth and efficient. And two, it has a wide forefoot, midfoot and rear foot, so it's as stable as a daily trainer and no extra stress is placed on your ankles. Then you might ask, why spend $180 on a daily training carbon fiber shoe when other daily trainers cost in the $120, $130 price range? And the main reason is the weight. At 7.4 ounces, it comes in at much lighter than the Ghosts, the Pegasus and the Cumuluses of the world. The average daily trainer weighs about 9.5 ounces, so the Rocket X is feather light compared to them. Another reason is that the Rocket X can fulfill two roles. It can be your race day shoe and your training shoe leading up to the race because it's so versatile. The outsole of the Rocket X is covered with a lot more rubber than its predecessor, the Evo Carbon Rocket. But the windows through which you could see the carbon fiber plates have been closed up. All the high wear areas are covered in durable rubber, and the rubber is recessed into the midsole, which results in smooth ride transitions. I found traction to be excellent even on wet surfaces, which surprised me because there aren't any lugs to bite into the surface. The Rocket X fits more like a daily trainer than a snug racing shoe. In fact, the midfoot and the forefoot are so spacious that I would recommend going down a half size if you prefer a racing fit. The airy mesh they've used reminds me of the mesh on the Rincon 2. It's got no stretch to it, and it feels slightly rough to the touch. It has an internal heel counter and last row double eyelets, which I did use to get a more secure fit. Lockdown was superb and I experienced no heel slippage. The gusseted tongue is attached underneath the insole and it stops it from sliding around during runs. There's a large reflective patch on the heel, and the fact that Hoka included this on the Rocket X shows that they intended it to be used for training runs. Because during marathons you don't need reflectivity because the roads are closed. My only gripe with the upper is that the laces are just too long. I had to cinch them tight to get a good lockdown, and as a result of that the loops were so long that they touched the floor. If you want the marshmallow soft ride that's usually associated with Hoka One Ones, the Rocket X is not your shoe. As its name suggests, the Rocket X is best suited to races and tempo runs. For runners who have never ever worn a carbon fiber shoe, the Rocket X would be the perfect shoe to make the transition in, because form doesn't matter as much as with other carbon fiber plated shoes. And it's also incredibly forgiving. It's the carbon fiber shoe for beginners. In my opinion, the Rocket X is the Pegasus of carbon fiber shoes. It doesn't do any one thing particularly well, but it's just a well-rounded, dependable option. I probably won't be using the Rocket X for my next marathon, but I will be using it for the training runs leading up to it. For races, I prefer a midsole foam which returns more energy the harder I strike. With the Rocket X, Hoka has proven that you don't have to pay over $180 for a super shoe. The Rocket X is a versatile, consistent racing shoe which can double up as a training shoe. Thanks for watching our review. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe to our channel. You can also read our full written review on runningshoesguru.com.